When the time comes, everything will become clear. Why? Because tomorrow the truth will be revealed. Will this channel turn out to be extremely bullish or extremely bearish? The only explanation is due to inflation or the CPI, folks. The data is expected to be released tomorrow at 8:30 EST, so you should definitely keep an eye on it. And in today's video, we will discuss it. Some say, hey, maybe you guys want the data to come out first, then make a decision, while others are attempting to front run this news. Thus, this is intriguing. The final CPI inflation report before the June Federal Reserve meeting is scheduled to be released tomorrow. The core CPI figure for May has been expected to increase, reaching 2.9% at this point. Wait, I thought, oh, this is a joke, isn't it? Hold on, what's happening? People are now betting on this betting market that inflation is going nowhere but up, guys, just like Bitcoin has been going for a few weeks now with inflation at 2.9%, and that's where it's going to be, guys. All right, when the report is released tomorrow, some people are speculating that we might see a slight increase. The problem is, though, if inflation materializes, I believe the previous figure was 2.3%. All right, it's been more than a year. Bears, it's bad news if inflation rises above that figure. All I can say is that we need inflation to drop, okay, to drop to 2% if it falls below. The Fed's aiming for that. In the event that inflation falls just below estimates, the markets will release unprecedented new ultimates. XRP is going to blow up. Just keep an eye out for tomorrow. I say again, the market's next move will depend on whatever occurs. However, if it rises, say, to these levels, this will be the first time core CPI inflation has increased since January 2025, correct? If Jerome Powell sees inflation going up, he's actually going to blow up. He's not. What will Jerome Powell say tomorrow, I wonder, correct? Mainly because many people predict that it will be higher, but how can that ever be possible, correct? Is inflation increasing once more? What? It's interesting to note that certain commenters, like the Trueflation guys, are stating that inflation isn't really at. What's going to happen tomorrow? 3%, 2.5%? Whatever it is. In fact, it falls below the federal target, correct, folks, at the dollar or the 1 point region. The loss of control is just one terrible prince away, isn't it? His mind is absolutely going to blow up, people. Isn't that right? Someone pointed out down here, if we do get higher now, if it surprises me, there might be a VIX pop, which reminded me, it's been a while since I looked at this chart. All right, it's been a while since I looked at this chart. This is the S&P 500, guys, volatility. Now, let's look at the volatility index. And essentially, when we see this pump going insane, stock market volatility causes stocks to drop or dump. And when it rises, the opposite occurs. Equities fall. All right, that's really strange. I'm like, hold on, I drew this chart so I could check it. We're actually at support right now, guys. I drew all these lines a long time ago. Literally, we are here to help. We are testing the support. If inflation is lower than experts predict, for example, if the inflation figure report declines, we need this to go down properly. This object will fall correctly. But if it doesn't and it rises instead, guys, it's going to blow up again. Which once more, everything is determined by tomorrow. I'll say again, if inflation is more than it was last month, I believe it was 2.3%, therefore it will be negative news if it exceeds 2.3. Additionally, I believe that XRP will set a new record low. Yes, it will drop to about 160 cents. Not tomorrow, but within the next month or two, perhaps. Therefore, we must hope and pray that inflation will decline. Not sure how. When I saw that betting market prediction, I felt I was having a hallucination. This is intriguing now. According to Elon Musk's intelligentsia, a recession will be brought on by President Trump's tariffs in the second half of this year. I will thus remember this call. Absolutely not. Correct? Not all. I'm going to suggest that it's strange that he removed it. For what reason did he? Correct? They probably want people to get bullish. The trade negotiations were the main focus of today, correct? Great. It's going to be a crazy week. It will be much more crazy next week. Are you all prepared for Jerome Powell to be on one? After 2 days of negotiations in London, the United States and China have reached a preliminary agreement on the foundation for a new trade agreement. Apparently this one is good. Nick was informed by the US Commerce Secretary that trade negotiations with China was proceeding smoothly and would last all day. The discussions might go into tomorrow if necessary, right? However, inflation is, in my opinion, far more significant than this. Then the trade agreements and so forth. The Fed, isn't that right? The Fed is in charge of everything. Therefore, the Fed will say boo-hoo and decide to wait for inflation to decline, even if it takes 5 years, correct? Naturally, though, it won't take that long. If it doesn't occur naturally, they will create a recession in order for it to decline. However, the Chinese Commerce Secretary claims that the United States and China came to a mutually agreeable trade deal about the negotiations in Switzerland, correct? to see if it would work or not. They are introducing every bullish piece of news that humanity has ever heard. But we'll see, right? Tomorrow is the day that the CPI data goes live. According to Bloomberg, Mexican states are nearing an agreement that would eliminate 50% of import duties on steel up to a specific threshold. Why is there so much positive news about this situation? The icing on the cake, once more. The primary component in this case is tariffs. Aside from that, I would say that the tariffs are the icing on the cake, but in my view, the CPI is what really counts. Guys, the CPI is a problem. I genuinely believe that Trump, oh no, anything, all right. According to CNBC, Bitcoin is poised to soar to new all-time highs, exceeding $130,000 0 cents. Don't think this needs to be coordinated because I'm not even sure how this is conceivable. All of the news outlets are optimistic. It's intriguing to see that Bitcoin is poised to reach new all-time highs of over $130,000 0 cents. Based on the charts, we have $800 billion. According to asset manager Bernstein, the 2025 Bitcoin price forecast of $200,000 0 cents is cautious. That is really insane. They're all saying that you have to be a giant bull, aren't they? What will it be then? We'll see that someone recently opened a $53 million 20x long bet on Bitcoin, whether it goes up or down. A 13 million Bitcoin long has just been opened by another whale, and everyone is hankering after it. You risk losing your money if you're lusting, isn't that right? Because of this, you need to be really bullish to go long, and it's crazy to have this much money, especially because someone recently opened a $300 million 0 cents long position on Bitcoin. Even so, how is that possible? They're now in the profits, but I'm not sure. They have 180K entry. Yes, they are currently safe. However, tomorrow is going to be the most volatile day yet. If I were them, I wouldn't even sleep. So I'll get ready. Bitcoin worth $212 million. 0 cents was just purchased. Without terrible, individuals are going on a shopping binge. Exploding. Exchange publicly. Cooler spends $13 million 0 cents for an extra $118 0 cents worth of Bitcoin next tomorrow in any direction. What will happen tomorrow? Pray, Joan. Powell is literally going to blow apart, guys, if inflation does increase. Fidelity has resumed buying 1,585 Bitcoins flows. Money is pouring into Bitcoin, which is crazy. BlackRock can purchase 1,000 Bitcoins. Isn't that right? Therefore, why is this the case? I assume this is because they believe it will rise regardless of whether inflation decreases or increases. A French business called the Blockchain Group raises 300 million euros to purchase more Bitcoin. What's happening? $10 trillion. VanEck claims to have $7 billion 0 cents in Bitcoin exposure. This is crazy. And then they will suddenly pump it because the exchanges have about $10 billion worth of sourced shorts to take at 115K. What precisely is happening with Bitcoin there? Let's discuss it. This is my analysis, guys. Well, at this moment, as we speak, we are attempting to fight this world at this level. We're above it, so it should continue to hold support. It held resistance so well and helped support everything all these times. I suppose it all depends on tomorrow. Therefore, nothing matters because tomorrow is an outside event. Right now, if you want to be bullish, it all rests on tomorrow, people. If we are above 109K and continue to move above 109K, then Bitcoin is bullish. $300, 0 cents. Extra resistance will be between 117 and 120K. But if you do break below that level, the next support will be at about 104K, right? Really bullish, really bullish. Thus, get ready. However, I believe that if Bitcoin reaches or hovers at this level, it'll be around 111K and change. Yes, we will reach 120K. It will be turned on for 120K men. All right, that concludes my analysis.